ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Listen, I'm glad to have you guys here on this wet, rainy Sunday. Anyway, wet, rainy where I'm at. Anyway, maybe it's sunny and hot for you guys. Anyway, here's the thing. Bitcoin just took a jump in price. There's an awful lot happening. Let's get right in there. I'm going to get the charts open. Just a sec. Let me grab them here. There we go. I'll have to open them up a little bit so we can see what we're doing here. Bitcoin just took a big leap up in price. It's 86.03 right now. It's up 7% on this Sunday. Alone today, it's up 7.24%. And if we take a look at cryptocurrency market capitalizations, see Bitcoin dominance at 57.6% and a market cap of $261.3 billion. We see my favorite Litecoin at $105. You know, it's just steadily marching upwards in price. XRP is at 39 cents. Bitcoin Cash is at $421. Ethereum's at $260. Stellar's at 12 cents. You know what, guys? They did a survey of college kids, you know. Not college kids. They were, college students. They did a survey. And this wasn't very long ago. This was just in May. This 26th of May. So they did it, they did the survey, it must have been a week or two ago. Because the price of Bitcoin when they did the survey was where they were saying it here. I think they said the price of Bitcoin, yeah, here it is, $5,400 when they did the survey. So it wasn't very long ago Bitcoin was $5,400. I mean, it rose up quick from around 3,000 something, 3,500 or whatever. So they must have did the survey just not very long ago, just a matter of days ago. And they asked these kids, you know, they said, hey, you know what do you want? $1, $1 US, or do you want a Bitcoin? You know, and let's look at some of the answers that the kids said here. One kid said, well, these aren't really kids, you know, they're young adults, they're in college. One of them said, I want the $1. That's almost enough for a pack of Reese's peanut butter cups. The next guy said, I'll take the $1. I don't know much about Bitcoin, but I do know a lot about dollars. The next guy said, today I want the Bitcoin. And they asked him, well, why? Why do you want the Bitcoin? And he said, because I follow Bitcoin. He said, then the next guy, he said, I want the $1. And they said, why? He says, because it isn't a Bitcoin isn't a Bitcoin protected by a password? And if you lose your password, you lose your Bitcoin. He says, I'm not going to lose the $1. Another one they asked, he said the $1. And they asked him why. He said, because currently I have 83 cents to my name, so I kind of want the $1 now. He says, also Bitcoin is risky. They asked the next guy. He said, I want the Bitcoin. And he says, isn't that worth like $5 grand right now? He says, isn't it? So you got one guy that knew. One guy out of all these guys. Next guy, he said, I'll take the $1. They asked him why. He says, because I'm hungry, and I can use it in the vending machine. And the final guy they asked, and he says, I'll take the $1. And they said, why? He says, because, and he pointed to the $1, and he says, I know its value, and it's not going to change. It doesn't depend on other people, too. So, it shows you right now, out of all these kids, there's only one that really knew what Bitcoin was worth. You know? And he says, isn't that worth like $5 grand right now? So he wanted the Bitcoin. So it shows where we are in the scheme of things right now, when most of these college students do not know that a Bitcoin is worth more than $1 US. It shows you that we're actually very early in Bitcoin's journey to where it's going. So we got a war that's coming up with Bitcoin. And it's going to reach a point when it grows large enough where the governments are going to react. And I don't believe they're going to react to try to ban Bitcoin. They've already been there. They've already thought that over. I don't think that's the direction that they're going to move in. I think the direction that they're going to move in has an awful lot to do, really, not so much with Bitcoin, but with the demise of their own currencies and the loss of value in their own currencies. And I think the direction they're going to move in is they're going to make their currencies, like the US dollar, cryptographic. They're going to make them blockchain. I think this is a transition that they're going to make. Russia's already working on this transition. They're going to make a blockchain of their currency. I think it's a ruble. They're going to make a blockchain version that has a gold backing for commerce. They're going to use it for commerce, I guess, from what I understand. So anyway, these countries will follow suit so fast, and this is going to be, in effect, the way that they try to combat Bitcoin. They're going to try to combat Bitcoin with their own currencies, and more than likely switching or making a transition from their own currencies that they're using now into blockchain technology and making their currencies blockchain. Well, there's a couple huge things that's going to happen when they do this. And this is the direction they're headed to try to fight against the cryptocurrencies. A couple huge things that's going to happen here when this happens. You know, the huge thing that's going to happen is their cryptographic currency that's going to be backed by gold, if it is used in widespread usage, and it very possibly will be, and it'll be a competitor with Bitcoin, is going to be like Bitcoin in the fact that it's going to run on blockchain technology, and you're going to have to keep a wallet on your computer that holds the US dollar, backed by gold. Of course, you know, it's probably the backed by gold thing, that's easy for them. They're not letting anybody in to see their gold reserve at Fort Knox. They say it's there. Nobody's going to get in to see. Nobody's got in to see forever in the past. Nobody's going to get in to see it in the future. They say it's so many millions of tons, and they're just going to say, well, that's what backs this new cryptographic currency. It's the gold at Fort Knox. And nobody can prove them wrong, so everybody will just accept that it's the official currency of the United States and that it has value because it's backed by gold, because they say so. So that's settled about the gold backing. It's going to go head-to-head against Bitcoin. But here's the big thing. The big thing is, it's going to have a cryptographic wallet like Bitcoin. Okay, it's the same thing. They're going to use the same tech. They might make their wallet look a little bit different, a little bit more fancy, a little bit more frills, a little bit maybe more streamlined. Might have some fancy artwork on it and stuff, you know, the wallet, and it might work really good. But it's basically, at its core, it's the same technology as Bitcoin. And here's the big part. You'll be able to keep the US dollars on your computer as your own bank, just like Bitcoin, because it's the same technology. It makes you your own bank. What this does, the big thing that this does, the big thing that this does, and they have to move in this direction to counteract Bitcoin. This is what they're going to do. They're going to counteract Bitcoin. They have to move in this direction. So, makes you your own bank. Now, it does a big thing for the government. These are the two things it's going to do. It's going to do a big thing for the government. First off, if you've got their dollars on your wallet, that you can bet and rest assured that they're going to make sure that they know what address is sending to who. In other words, they're going to probably have an assigned wallet address on their wallet that they use so that they can identify you with your wallet address. This way, the government is insured to get all of their taxes. Once they switch over to a cryptographic currency backed by gold, they're going to get all their taxes, because you're not going to be able to pay for anything unless it's on their blockchain, and they're going to be able to trace your payments to you. And there won't be any cash anymore. Okay? But this does something to the banks. The whole reason about going to a bank is because you want to open a bank account and store money. If you can store US dollars on your own bank account on your own computer, and this is the only way that they can move forward into this tech, they're going to be cutting out the middleman, cutting out the banks. Well, the banks are already being undermined by this system that's happened. This financial system disaster that's coming is undermining the banking system, and the government has to constantly keep bailing them out. Right? This is going to undercut the banking system. Not going to need banks because the banks are going to be superfluous. They're not going to be needed with this new technology anymore, so the banks are going to wither away. But the government's going to make out like a bandit with this new technology. This is going to help the government immensely. So what we're moving away from the banking system of control, and we're moving into a government system of control with this new currency system. And believe me, currency is everything. It's the gold. He who controls the gold makes the rules. Okay? So you see where this is going? This is going toward a government, each country issuing their own new blockchain. Venezuela started it. Of course, you know, Venezuela's under a hyperinflation and they're bankrupt and everything else, and so their new petrocurrency wasn't worth much. But it was a start. It was the first country to really switch over to a currency that was blockchain technology for their country, is the Venezuelan petro. Of course, it didn't take off, it didn't fly, but that doesn't mean it won't fly in these other countries. It probably will fly, especially if they back it with gold. I think this is the direction we're moving in. It's going to give government immensely more power, and it's going to draw power, the whole thing is going to draw power away from the banking system because they're not needed anymore. If you're your own bank, what do you need a bank for? Even if it's a government-issued cryptocurrency, you're still your own bank. Of course, the government now, they're going to keep the blockchain ledger. So even though you're your own bank, and they're going to expect you to do your own banking on your own wallet, still all of your transactions are going to go into their blockchain and go into their central computer where they can enter your number from your account, your wallet account, into their computer, and it'll drop all the addresses where you've sent money all year long or received money all year long. So it gives the government excellent control. In fact, it gives them such a tight, rigid control that they just have to enter that number into their computer to see how much you earned. You don't have to write it down on any sort of T4 or whatever slips that they want you to write it down on. You don't have to do that anymore. They're going to write it down for you. They're going to go in and enter your number into the computer at the tax season and see all the money that you had come in and see all the money you had go out with this new tech. So this is going to strengthen government. Because you know how much money they lose every year? Because of cash? They've been wanting to get rid of cash for a long time, and this is finally enables them to get rid of cash. How long do you think it's going to take them? And it also enables them to make a reset. The reset will be into these new cryptographic currencies. So they're way big in debt right now. They're way big in debt. The U.S. government's way big in debt. What better way to get out of debt than to start a trade war, ups the price of everything by 25%, and then possibly other effects, maybe cut off the supply of oil, right? Oil prices double. That brings another 25% inflation in. That means a 50% hit on the dollar right off initially. How many times do you have to smash the dollar before and knock its buying power down to nothing before finally the people catch on and they say, hey, you know what? I can't buy anything anymore with these dollars. The dollar store is now the $5 store. And my dollar is only worth 25 cents. How long is it before the people finally catch on and they say, hey, you know what? I'm pulling my money out of the bank and I'm going to go out and buy that new car. Or I'm going to go out and buy whatever I want to buy because my new car next year, if I buy my new car this year for $20,000, next year it's worth $50,000. And I can drive it for a year. I can buy it for $20,000, drive it for a year, and sell it for $30,000. because the dollar's hyperinflating. How long do you think, once that process gets going and it gets started, and the people, it feeds upon itself. The dollar starts to lose value daily, and everybody's just panicking to get rid of it. That's hyperinflation. So you get a hyperinflation. What does it do? In the end, it brings the dollar down so the dollar's worth nothing. In the end, an egg costs $100,000, and people are carrying trillion-dollar bills in their pockets. Well, it's not too hard to pay off a $22 trillion debt if a bag of groceries costs $22 trillion. Okay, so they get the debt paid off because the dollar hyperinflated, basically. And the debt wasn't nothing then in the end. Now they've paid all their Social Security out. They've paid all their pension funds because the dollar hyperinflated. Now they can pay all those pension funds. Oh, by the way, your $100,000 you had planned for retirement, well, you know, I mean, it was supposed to be worth $100,000, but now $100,000 won't even buy you a roll of toilet paper. It won't even pay for the gas to get to the bank to get the $100,000 because the dollar hyperinflated. Oh, well, but everybody's paid. It's just that the dollars they're paid with are worth nothing, and now the United States is out of debt. What do? It's called a reset. Simple. It's called a reset. They basically just issue out their new cryptographic dollar that's backed by gold. They don't even have to show you the gold. They just say, we have it. We have it. We have it. It's in Fort Knox. You trust us. We're the United States government, they say. Right? Everybody says, yeah, we trust you. The gold's there in Fort Knox. La, 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 la. It's all a wonderful world. And, you know, they bring out this new cryptographic currency, and they say, well, okay, 1 unit of cryptographic currency, well, Bitcoin's now $100,000. So 1 unit of this new cryptographic dollar will be 100,000 old dollars. You know what I mean? So you'll go in to buy them, and you won't even get $1. Because say you have 30,000 in the bank. You take your 30,000 out, and you go down, you only get 1/3 of $1 of the new dollars. But yeah, so the new dollar's got great buying power. You know? Because it's backed by all the gold in Fort Knox. Of course it's going to have good buying power. But now the United States has just got to get out a free jail debt card. They don't owe anything anymore because they paid it in the old dollars. They've paid everything. They've paid off their debt. They've paid everything. Now they're snap bang on. They can start hyperinflating. Well, work toward. See, it took them 100 years to hyperinflate the old dollar. Basically, you know, I mean, go back to 1913, 1914. A dollar was worth $1. Now it's only worth like 3 cents. And soon it's not going to be worth nothing. But it took them a long time. It took them like 100 years. So they get these new cryptographic dollars in, so-called backed by gold. It might take them quite a long time before they actually start to lose value. It resets the entire United States system again. And now our economy can work good again. But what do we go through in that process leading up to when the dollar is finally destroyed? It's going to destroy all the middle class because they all keep their savings in dollars. Yeah, sure, it gets the United States out of debt, but it also destroys all your savings for your retirement unless you've hedged. The only way it's not going to destroy you is unless you've hedged. And there's only 3 places to hedge: gold, silver, and cryptocurrencies. And all 3 of those are going to beat inflation. All 3 are good. Cryptocurrency's taken off first. You know, it's hit the rocket engines first, and it's taken off first. But believe me, gold and silver's not long before the launch pad goes for them. They're in the countdown right now. You know, cryptocurrency's off and away first, but they're in the countdown mode for gold and silver. Don't get upset and sell all your silver and all your gold. Never sell all. You know, always keep a little bit of silver or gold back. You know. Anyway, listen, thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye.